Okay, so good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, February 13th, 2020. The time is precisely 9:01 a.m. I am calling this meeting to order. We'll have our first item, which is the pledge. Sandy, would you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right, then. So attending this morning are Commissioners Duncan, Brooks, and Filios. Do we have any conflicts of interest? Hearing none. Okay, moving right along. I don't have any, well, I guess my opening remarks are very limited. We did have a case number MSF 20-0002, a request by Aspen Homes and Development that was withdrawn.
Rescheduled.
Well, okay, either way, rescheduled, but withdrawn for today. And so, and that really ties into one of the questions we'll be taking up a little bit later. But before we go on, let's go into our signings. And the first one is case number CUP 19-0008, a request by Kootenai Properties, Inc. And is there a motion to execute the order of decision?
I move that we execute the order of decision for case number CUP 19-0008.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Filios.
Aye. So we'll be signing the order for CUP 19-0008. Thank you. This goes back to Catherine. Okay. And then moving on to item B for our signings, which is resolution number 2020-14, case number CPA 19-0001, comprehensive plan amendment update. And this is a request by Kootenai County to amend and update the goals and policies of the Kootenai County Comprehensive Plan adopted on December 30th, 2010. So, okay then, do we have a motion?
Sure. I move that we sign resolution number 2020-14 for case number CPA 19-0001.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Filios.
Aye, and the resolution motion is adopted. Okay. All right then. Changing of the guard.
Thank you.
You bet.
We're on.
We're on, okay. Okay, so then this takes us to the business segment of our meeting this morning, which is community development updates. First item, consideration of allowing the U.S. Census staff to host a temporary census job table in the main lobby of the county administration building and a potential action item. Director Callahan.
Commissioners, you may recall you appointed me to be the county liaison to the census. I've been working with a subcommittee that we could pull together once-a-month meetings for a complete count, and that group's working well. But as part of that work, the census staff just asked me if I would ask you to do what you just read. And it seems pretty straightforward. I can add that they'd like to use it for a couple of days a week, a couple of hours each day, so it's not a big deal. The main thing is that we're such a trafficked building, and starting in March, they'll need to start hiring people for temporary jobs that run through the rest of the year. It's just useful for them to have a presence in a high visibility, high traffic area.
So does this allow them to recruit? Okay.
Yeah, they'd actually be advertising the jobs they have
Okay.
and handing out people information, making it better.
So they can get help, okay.
They'll do the same sort of thing at Coeur d'Alene Library and other locations.
Questions, concerns?
I think I'm fine if it's just a couple days a week for a couple hours each, you know, and obviously it'll be set up so it's
Right.
out of the main line of traffic and not,
I'll coordinate with building and grounds, and we'll keep you apprised of when they're here.
okay.
You okay?
It's a no-brainer.
Okay. Motion.
I move that we allow the U.S. Census staff to host temporary census job table in the main lobby of the county administration building.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Philios.
Aye, motion is carried. Item B, second item on our business agenda. Discussion and direction for major subdivision form and content of final plats action item. Mary, would you like to lead us with this, or director? Or?
I'd like to jump
Okay.
in on this one because I know the background, and it's a director level thing.
Okay.
The central issue here is that until a few days ago, until the last part of last week, I was under the impression that we did everything that the black and white letter of the law requires. I was wrong. The staff has been ignoring this one item that I'll make available to you now because they thought it was unnecessary. And that's the number 22 on the folder page where it says what it says.
Go ahead and read it anyway,
Just read it.
for the record.
A
Yeah.
statement must be included.
Okay.
Must is not maybe. And so the staff erred in not requiring this in the past. I have even erred by working with in a minor subdivision, or actually a major subdivision, with a different builder than the one that's in the room today, thinking that we had some latitude. But that one can argue is a misfeasance. If I agreed to do it knowing what the law says, it becomes a malfeasance, you should fire me for it. So that's why this is in front of you today. The builder would like you to ignore what the black and white language says. I think that's unacceptable and inappropriate. If you think the language is overreaching, that would be a matter to take back to the Plan Commission and ask to consider a code amendment, bring it back forward to you. Normally that takes 4 to 6 months. So it's not going to fix this issue.
Okay.
I can give you a little context that I think would be helpful. One of the things that's very different from my experience about Kootenai County from other municipalities is here we expect infrastructure to be built before the plat's recorded. And that's the way we've done business all these years since we've had subdivision regulations in the 70s. We do still get bonds for things, but that's really, in my view, belt and suspenders, because you don't get to record the plat until, okay, that's our starting point. That's very different from the rest of the country, in my experience. In places like Denver and Dallas and Richardson and suburbs and on, plats are recorded concurrently with a development agreement. The agreement is express, it's a contract between the municipality and the developer that lays out exactly when things will be built, over what time frames, and even has dollar values and bonding to back it up, so that if a municipality finds a bankrupt developer, it can roll in, step into the developer's place, make it happen. That's common practice for big cities because big cities are accustomed to these things and have been since the 70s. And have the staff to make it happen. Frankly, we don't. That, in my view, is part of why we don't do development agreements. I kind of like the way we're set up because the expectation is you do the work, then you record the plat, and then you're done. But we have had for years on major subdivisions, some staff have, well, let me say this better. We've never actually to my knowledge, been requiring this language on the face of the plat when we should have. That's allowed in some few cases for builders not to complete all of the infrastructure. What we've typically done is try to catch it in the review process so that we don't actually issue a certificate of occupancy, but we've gone ahead and issued building permits contrary to what this language says. And so in this case, Aspen Homes has grown accustomed to that, and they're caught betwixt and between because they'd like to have gone forward with this plat, but I've told them I can't, knowing what the language, the plain language says. Plain language, I mean. So in my view, the right thing to do is to put this language on the plat, record it, and deal with it, and it's going to be hard for this particular subdivision and developer in Aspen Homes. But it's the right thing to do under these circumstances. If you're so inclined, we can pursue with the Plan Commission an amendment to allow more flexibility to these things. The possibility of a development agreement could be something we could look at and bring that back to the usual process. But again, that's about a 4-month process in good timing, 6 in bad timing.
Why does that take so long?
Well, the Plan Commission has to chew on it, and they may take as long as they want. I can't force them to move swiftly. They don't report to me.
We can.
I was going to say the advisory,
You could instruct them.
Yes.
You say you want this forthwith.
Mm-hmm.
But even under ideal instruction and timing, they need at least a month to get their mind around
Sure.
it, advertise, and then have a hearing.
notice, yeah.
And then another month to get it in front of you. And I know from experience, that's not going to happen, frankly, in less than 3 months. 4 is more typical.
Okay.
But we could make it go as quickly as you want it. That's your desire.
Okay. I presume that Aspen Homes is not the only one caught in this situation at the
Well,
present
there's only
time.
one other that I'm aware of, and that was Chad Oakland, and that's where I stepped in and
Chad.
we worked out an agreement. It was a nightmare when we let him go forward because we had lots that the inspectors couldn't find because the roads weren't built. We couldn't address them properly because you couldn't find them. It went on and on. And so I still like the idea of having everything built up front. And if we're going to go to development agreements, we're going to have to do something more precise than cities do because we don't have all the staffing and ability that a big city has that does development agreements.
Okay.
So when it came to Chad Oakland, you say it was a nightmare to sort through this thing.
Uh-huh,
But he did get what he wanted.
he did.
Is there a reason we can't go through that same nightmare for Aspen Homes?
Yeah, it'd be a malfeasance. It was a misfeasance with Chad.
Why? Oh, because you didn't know about this.
Right.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear that you did not know about this when you worked with Chad.
And thank you for bringing it up.
Okay.
And Pat and I have talked about this, and you're welcome to consult him. You might even want to consider taking executive session with Pat on this one because we are into the ground of an administrative area where it's steep.
Okay. So when this first arose last week, you were out on vacation, and Mary and Pat and I got on a conference call. And since we haven't invoked this in the past, which again you referred to as misfeasance, the proposal that I made, if you will, was to say, okay guys, if we're going to do this and if we're going to implement this going forward, and since we haven't for over a decade, is that a fair statement? Then-
I would say that's fair.
Okay, then what we ought to do is provide notice to our builders that something to the effect that, 30 days or whatever it is, 60 days hence, this will be invoked. Go ahead.
We couldn't do that. Today, we'd have to say, we are requiring what the law says. You were on notice today. We can't give them 30 days of grace time because, again, that's a malfeasance.
But is it still, and I guess maybe Pat's going to have to jump in here, is it still malfeasance if the board decides to grant an exception?
Yeah, that's between you and Pat, but I think it is.
I'm sorry,
Are we
Pat, I
just
guess
talking-
I'm,
We're just talking about the plat note that this provision requires, or?
Well, I assume you're also talking about allowing them to pull building permits.
Yeah, that would be the substantive requirement. Pulling building permit, and that, I don't know if there's real precedent for in our experience.
do we need precedent, Pat?
Well, you don't need precedent to grant a waiver, but I'm weighing in my mind whether that waiver would be proper to grant, and that's probably what we would need to talk about.
And essentially, again, so we're all on the same page, you granted a waiver to Chad? Or did you?
Well, I didn't know.
Well, and I don't want
I
to put it
worked
that
out
way,
in the-
but,
No,
okay.
just no. What I did was try to be helpful and set up a system where we issued
I'm
building
sorry.
permits, knowing that he was gonna not get a CO until certain things were done. I committed a misfeasance at that point, because I missed this.
No, I get it. I used the wrong term, I'm sorry, I used the wrong terminology. In any case, did he pull permits?
Yes.
Okay, he did.
And we got him through, and it worked. Because as you know, I try to be reasonable when I can with people. But there are points where I can't stretch my integrity
No, that's fine,
over
that's fine.
the plain language of something.
So I guess then I would ask Pat what our exposure is, which you may not necessarily be able to answer outside of executive session.
Yeah, I would wanna,
So does this constitute an emergency?
Do we
or-
need any?
well, you can call an executive session
At any time.
Okay,
You don't need to have an emergency.
Right.
okay.
So what are we looking at? What is it, a 1D
D or F?
is it? Or
F.
F.
Okay. So then, do we have a motion?
I move that we enter into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 74-2061F.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Sheriff Bilios.
Aye. Entering into executive session with Civil Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Pat Braden. Excuse us, gentlemen, we have to go into exec here
Yeah, you
to
gotta-
consult with counsel.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan. Aye. Chairman Philios.
Aye. And so we're back in open session. Any questions? Eric, we might have some questions for you.
Sure.
So, who would like to lead off?
Well, I'm not seeing a good way around this at this point, but I understand that if a bond were to be issued, that would help.
So we've issued a bond for all the improvements to go at 150%, which Ben has. He has the bond.
Okay.
And then the water district has their bond for the water portion that we have to do.
Okay.
We have to, the water's the bigger part, the on-site infrastructures, the roads at within an inch of final grade. So we just missed paving, need to clean up the paving, clean up the ditches, put down asphalt.
Okay.
So would you be agreeable to a plat note? And we could be processing your building permits once the plat note and plat are recorded, since the bonds are in place.
Yeah, I don't know what the plat note would say necessarily, but we're full disclosure to anybody who's gonna buy a lot and get a building permit. Because, again, we've just kind of operated the way we've been doing it, and we have commitments, and it's our fault, our responsibility, but, you know, people have plans drawn, they're kind of ready to go, and we want to keep that going as we finish the infrastructure.
Okay. David?
Well, that would, just to clarify, that would mean that we couldn't actually issue the building permits. We'd have them ready to go. But with the plat note and the bond, we couldn't issue them until the work is done.
So
And that's what the
even,
plat note would say.
And that wouldn't accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. At that point,
So that's the best I have to offer.
right, so the bond doesn't take the place of having to have everything done.
In fact, that provision is there specifically to ensure the property is, or the
That's
subdivision.
why it says what it says.
Yeah, where the bond has been placed to actually be complete.
And that's what I meant earlier on when I said belt and suspenders.
Right.
Okay. All right then. So where are we? We're either going to comply with the law or we're not going to comply with the law. And I don't know that we have any choice.
Well, you could instruct the staff to expedite a code amendment. And we could take it to Plan Commission and get it back in front of you 3 months. 2 would be a miracle.
Yeah, it's still not gonna help this
Nah.
situation
And that's not gonna
because,
help this,
No.
but that's just
yeah.
something. for you to
And that
consider.
brings up bigger issues too, if we
Right.
go down that road. Bill, thoughts?
I hate it when we discover stuff and the curtain comes down and it comes down on somebody. And it seems to be coming down on Aspen Homes, not through anything we've done other than discovered the mistake or anything they've done as far as trying to get around things. But I don't think we have a good answer at this point. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
we'd be open to, just because of the commitments, if it's a 3 to 5 building permit, you know, it's a 25 lot subdivision, it doesn't need to be for the whole thing. If it's a, and again, I don't know that there's a way around it, but I'm just throwing that out there. If we're able to get 3 to 5 building permits, subject to no CO, subject to homeowner, us, anybody just acknowledging where we're at in the process.
So help me understand, if it's 5 out of the 25
Right.
that you're looking for, the infrastructure for those 5 are gonna be completed before the rest?
No,
No.
the infrastructure will still get completed all at the same time for the entire plat. I'm just,
Okay.
I won't commit to selling a lot to somebody saying they can go get a building permit.
Beyond those
beyond
5
those
until the
5. I mean, we
infrastructure's
could
in place.
even pick the 5, I know the 5 lots, you know, if that helps at all. I don't know if it does.
David?
That's effectively what I did for Chad Oakland. not realizing I was violating our regs. Here, we'd be knowingly violating.
Right. So besides the paving, it's the water that's gonna hold you up?
Water's the big to-go work. Off-site water. So the on-site water system's there's water pressure, and we're just agreed to put in booster stations and up the hill for higher flow.
Okay, so are you doing community water, is that it?
Community Greensbury
Community
Water
water,
District.
okay. Pat? And do you wish to weigh in? I mean, if we're approving, well, never mind. The law is the law, whether it's 3 lots or 10 lots or 15 lots. The question is, the likelihood that something goes wrong and results in a lawsuit, whatever that means and whoever's involved, with 3 lots is far less than 20 or 15 even. But if we're still in violation, we're still in violation.
I can add that I see this as an integrity issue. With Chad Oakland, in good conscience, I thought we were being helpful. Here, I'd be saying, the law doesn't mean anything, I have authority to just ignore it. My integrity says I should resign at that point. I'm not willing to go there.
No, I get it. The question is, can we go there? We, 3.
That is a question.
Right. No one's ever asked you to go there.
And, going back to your difficult legal question there, is someone likely to sue us over this? I doubt it. I doubt that they would ever know. But you have to struggle, I hope, with the same integrity issue I do. When does something mean what the black and white letter says it means? If it doesn't mean it now, when does it? When do you ever stop playing fast and loose when you go down this path? Because the next person in will say, well, you just did it for him.
Exactly. No other thoughts?
All kinds of options, and they're all bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't in good conscience advise you to ignore clear and unambiguous black letter law. I think the best, we would be able to do, if you were so inclined, was to initiate the process to change it, but that's.
Would be to what? I'm sorry, speak up.
Would be to initiate the process to change it, sorry.
Change the ordinance.
Right.
Change the code.
The code. Yeah, and that's a different discussion. I don't think we need to go down that path here. Well, all right. I guess at this point, we're at an impasse. I don't know that we're going to be able to do anything. If the law is the law, it is, and we battle this on different fronts. We have other situations right before us right now where I'm taking a position that says, hey, so-and-so acted and didn't violate the law. Well, what are we going to do here if we make an exception? Is we're going to violate the law? Is that correct, Pat?
Yes.
Yes.
Can't do that. We can change it. There's a process to change it, but to proceed knowing.
Well, hurry up and change it, but not a lot of relief for you.
How many months delay are you looking at?
Well, I mean, hopefully asphalt plants open up in May, so May, June, everything should be finished up.
Could be possible to have a change for the back.
Does it make good sense to change it?
I wouldn't mind exploring the idea just to see that we're as contemporary as we can be.
Right, possibly considering changing removing the strict prohibition, maybe going to a development agreement model like Post Falls.
It's always better to have options.
Well, okay,
Sure.
let's do this
Here-
then
here,
for the
Pat.
sake of moving, yeah,
Question.
I'm sorry?
Oh, it's just, my
Yeah.
comment is from the development, there's really no point in advancing, because it costs money to get bonds and things like that, to get a final plat that you can't get building permits on. I mean, technically, we can sell lots, but again, in good conscience, you don't want to sell a lot to somebody that they can't build on. So the whole process of getting bonding for and getting a final plat doesn't really make a whole lot of sense as a developer to have that, go through that, and advance extra money to go through that if you can't get building permits. Just food for thought as you guys go through.
Okay. So anyway, for the purpose of this discussion, the law is the law. And it does show an action item. So Pat, do we need a motion to affirm adherence to the law?
No, I think taking no action would be the appropriate.
Before we get into that,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd ask, I mean, this is just kind of an informational, help us here, because we're trying to,
Right.
if you were sitting there, what would you do?
Like you said, it's hard when we operate a business.
I understand that.
As just, and there's all sorts of codes in there that, trust me, I have no idea that exist, right? We just operate the way we have. We recorded a plat 2 years ago that didn't have
Mm-hmm.
this restriction on it.
I-
So it makes it real tough, you know, we're gonna lose lot sales, we'll lose
Money.
money, we get 6 months to build in North Idaho with good weather, we're gonna miss
3 of it.
some of those windows, it's gonna be a big deal, for sure.
But I mean, what would you do if you were on the commission here and you had this look on you in the face?
I don't know. It's tough.
I just
You
wanted to
know,
ask an easy question.
Yeah, I don't know if there was a variance or an exception process. and
Any
I would
way,
Do it, but I just don't, if there isn't.
There's no variance to ignore law.
And I don't, we're not,
Right.
it's
That's,
I know.
frustrating because we don't want to ask anybody to ignore the
Right,
law.
right.
I got it.
yeah, that's
Thank
also
you.
blind.
That's not our
but-
intention by
Yeah.
any means. We've gone a year and a half developing property and then a week before
yeah, yeah.
it gets on your agenda, we find
go.
out that this needs to be on, and it's like, holy cow.
Well, while there are seasonal challenges, they're probably not economic challenges. Well, yes, you may be set back, but in terms of the economy as a whole,
Hopefully not.
I don't
yeah.
think recession's on the horizon, at least not within the next 6 or 8 months.
Right.
Okay, so then, with regard to item B, there's no action to be taken?
No.
Correct.
And I know community development will work with you as much as they possibly can within the law to help this situation move forward. Wish we had better news for you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you
in.
for
All right. Thank you.
being up front and coming in and
Yeah. No, again,
Yeah.
appreciate the time.
Thanks, Eric. Okay, moving on to item C, real quick, appointment approval of Barry Stearns, Planning Commissioner for the Hauser Joint Planning Commission, for the Hauser Joint Planning Commission, okay.
Yeah, he's already on the county.
He's already on the county, okay, right.
This is that weird conundrum where
Yeah.
we're going from old Hauser code to a new code where we won't need a joint planning commission anymore. But while we are going from the old to the new, we need the joint commission to meet so that they can review the changed Hauser, and that's why we need this file.
Understood.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be a challenge to have an actual quorum on that board.
Okay.
Sure.
So motion?
I move that we appoint Barry Stearns to the Hauser Joint Planning Commission.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chair Philios.
Aye. Public comment? None. 9:46. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.